The goal is all about wholeness. It's all about health. It's about being complete and coherent. Your shadow is not your enemy. It is stored up life force waiting to be reclaimed. Okay? The shadow is the kundalini in many ways. They're both stored up life force energy. Hidden within your shadow is sacred wisdom, leadership, compassion, and strength. Stop fighting yourself and reclaim your energy. Reclaim your energy. But you always want to be, everybody saying you're cool, you're nice, agreeable, right? You don't want to disappoint others, don't want to step on any toes. But after shadow work, you can respectfully say no. And assertively say, no, I can't do that. I'm not going to be able to do it. You might have to find somebody else to do it. I'm not available. I'm not available. You can negotiate for better pay. You can negotiate for better treatment in a relationship. Some have to change, or we're going to have to end this, because this right here is really not getting me. It's not really, it's not cutting it. So we need to talk about how we can make some changes. There needs to be some changes. You got to negotiate. You got to talk about it. But if you don't have any, any boundaries, right? You too nice. You can't even talk about your needs. You only have one life, one life. All of that afterlife stuff, at the end of the day, let's keep it 100. We don't know. You don't know. So we need to roll with the fact of we need to make the best of this life, because even if there is an afterlife, it still is after this life. So this life will only happen once. You will only be this incarnation once. You will only have this body, this flesh, this personality once. So you need to ride it till the wheels fall off. And don't you dare sacrifice yourself for somebody else, unless, of course, you want to. But it was your choice. You got nobody to blame but yourself. 2, the natural leader. The shadow of the natural leaders, they repress humility. They may repress trust, collaboration, and surrender. Before they integrate, they want control. They desire control. Too much control sometimes. They may micromanage people. Micromanage means you nitpicking every little thing a person does. Don't let a person really do their job and make mistakes on their own so they can learn. You micromanaging. And they have problems delegating because they need things to be perfect. They need to be in full control of anything. And, I have an aspect of that. I'm just going to be honest. I have an aspect of myself because I am a form of a perfectionist. And, but I've learned not to micromanage, or at least I've learned not to be so perfection oriented. Like, you can inspire people instead of having a form of manipulation, if you will. You can inspire. You can delegate correctly, and you can develop future leaders. And that's what it's really all about, developing leaders. A business owner realizes leadership is creating leaders rather than doing everything personally. It's one of the things we're working on here in our community. We need more leaders, but I need to see people demonstrating some leadership that I can pour into. If I don't see anything sprouting, I'm not really going to pour into it, because there's nothing that's even growing of its own volition. If I see something growing and showing effort of its own volition, I'll shine light and pour into it. But I need to see some substance of leadership. But a business owner realizes leadership is creating leaders rather than doing everything personally. The business grows because they stop being the bottleneck. Squeeze as much as you can out of life. 100%. And that's how I believe you're going to be blessed with more. You see, if you barely use the life force given to you, what makes the universe going to give you more life? You didn't even use the life force I gave you for this life. You got to use your gifts, use your talents. You got to take this life to the next level. You got to live this life how God would live this life if he was you. How would God live? Forget Jesus, God, because Jesus prayed to God. Skip him, God. How would God live? See, that's how you're supposed to live. 3rd personality shadow state, the person drawn to non-traditional relationships. Non-traditional relationships. The shadow, meaning that which is oppressed or suppressed within the psyche, The shadow is freedom. They repress their freedom, novelty, independence, and they repress their desire for multiple attachments and multiple relationships. The shadow, integration, does not mean acting out every desire. Integration means becoming honest about your desires, honest about your values, being honest and choosing how to express them ethically and responsibly. Example, polygamy. How many guys out there living a double life? A lot of guys living a double life. A lot. They got the wife and then they got the side chick, or they got the main girlfriend, then they got the side chick or two side chicks. See, women untucking it up now too. They say more women are cheating at a level never before in history. They're about to surpass men in cheating. Look it up yourself. But it's not about, hiding it. It's about being honest. Before you integrate it, you hide, you lie, you avoid difficult conversation, you live a double life. But after integration, after you honest with yourself and you look at yourself, say, you know what? I tried the monogamy thing. It never really works. Maybe it's not for me. So you communicate honestly, first by honestly assessing yourself. Communicate honestly with your people you're in a relationship with. And you accept the responsibility. You accept the outcome of the fact that that person may not be interested in that. And you bless them, let them go about their life. And you live life with integrity instead of secrecy. Integrity instead of secrecy. Be honest. You'd be surprised how much respect you would get if you just be honest. People could respect that. Instead of secretly violating a relationship or relationship agreements, the person has honest conversations about their values and their desires, and they accept the outcome with integrity and with honor. Shalom, wadu, everybody. Look, if there's one product that I would say you have to mind the dosage and not take too much, it's going to be your platinum. It's not cheap, but it does exactly what it says it does. DNA repair, lucid dreaming. One of the main reasons why people age is because of DNA degradation. Platinum is going to help with that. The aging process is a process of DNA degradation. So it helps with that. It also helps with your pineal gland. These rare trace minerals work synergistically together to give you these powerful results. And on top of that, the spiritual aspect is ridiculous. Your insight becomes so clear. As you start seeing the beauty in crazy stuff, you start seeing the beauty in everything. Everything starts to brighten up and become in technicolor. Now, this is partially the lucid dreaming, because guess what? Life is a dream. But is your dream clear? Is it lucid? 4. This is the last one. Squeeze in. First step is true personal power comes from being a complete person. For all potential already exists within you and is now expressed in the wholeness and bloom, yin and yang. Last shadow personality or shadow issue is the person who is the independent thinker. And this is a big one in these days and times. The independent thinker, the person who does not think like their social group. They suppress their individuality. They suppress their intellect. They suppress their independence and their intellectual independence. And they suppress the willingness to challenge norms. All of these things at the end of the day is a form of fear. All of them could be, the common denominator is fear. But a person who thinks different from their social group. How many people out there think different than the average African American? How many people think different than people in their family or in their social group? And how many people actually embrace that? Or do you silently just go along? What do you do? Let's have some interaction. My thing is, how does anybody even grow, or how do we have a real conversation if everybody's sitting up believing and agreeing the same thing? I mean, it's kind of lame to be honest. Anybody can sit up and watch TV and nod their head and agree with everything they're saying on the news, and bicker and or pretty much just complain or whatever the case may be. But who can challenge that? That takes a certain type of intellect to challenge the status quo. In so many echo chambers, people don't want to be challenged. People don't want to think. That's why you got to get around your tribe. You got to get with your tribe. You got to get around people that actually think. Even me, even challenge me. Challenge me. I ain't gonna say even challenge me. Challenge me. Right? Maybe I'm not 100%. Who knows? Nobody is beyond correction or reproach. But the shadow is people who suppress their individuality. And that's in many ways like suppressing your very soul. A lot of this is suppressing your soul. That's why a lot of people have lost their soul. They don't even have a soul. The true definition of a soul is having intellect, coming from our Kemetic masters who taught the Greeks about psyche or the soul, right? Wisdom and Sophia. All of these things are cultivated. This is why we were the first to even come up with the concept of the university system or college. It was the first universities or colleges were the ancient Egyptian mystery schools, not the ancient Egyptian church, not the ancient Egyptian temples. It was the ancient Egyptian schools where you matriculated through degrees and chambers of knowledge and experiences that cultivated your soul. You have to earn a soul. See? A soul is your aspect of yourself that is God. That's when you connect. This is why Jesus is called the Holy Soul. It wasn't a title that only he had. Many people reach that level of illumination in the mystery schools. It's mastery when you finally connect with your soul. So, going back to this person who's an individual, they're individual thinker. They think for themselves. That's letting you know you have a soul too. Now, before integration, they hide their opinions. They don't speak up. They agree just to fit in, just to have people to hang with. Thanks for the generous donation. They'll agree. They'll go along with it. And they live constantly buckering down, cowering down to social pressure because they have a need to be accepted. They have a need to be approved and validated by people. And that's the very modality that kills your soul. It kills your soul. Your soul is expansive. Your soul, it's not on the same vibration, doesn't integrate with something that's so small, right? And it's a form of lying. It's a form of going against yourself, which is in fact what sin really is. The kingdom of God is within you. So when you go against yourself, you're going against God. But after integration, they are able to speak honestly and respectfully. You think independently. You accept disagreements without fear. An example of this is a person begins expressing their views calmly instead of pretending to agree. Although some relationships may change, some may end, the remaining ones become more authentic. And that's what it's really all about. It's not about having a whole lot of people. It's about having real people in your circle. Ashe. You got to keep up with a bunch of shallow relationships. Nobody got time for that. We need to cultivate authentic, deep connections. Now, Jung, again, the Swiss psychoanalyst who came up with the term the shadow, was one of the fathers of modern depth psychology, says strength, and every strength has a corresponding shadow. Depth and strength, should I say, has a corresponding shadow. You know, many of our geniuses, you look at Einstein and you look at some of these people who started these multi-billion dollar corporations, people who actually invented AI. A lot of them, they're not very social like that. They have quirky personalities. Look at Elon Musk, one of the richest men in the world. You know, his personality is so exotic that it's actually a disease. I think he has Asperger's. It's characterized as a disease. But look at the accomplishments. So it has a shadow. All right. A timid person, scared and things of this nature, don't really speak up for themselves. They need courage. A dominant person needs to learn humility. A compliant person needs healthy selfishness or higher selfishness. A rebellious person needs discipline. And I like to add this too, and this is a shout out to a certain individual, a defiant person. Because there's a form of rebelliousness, but there's also defiance. They're very similar, right? But it's a form of lack of discipline. Okay, lack of discipline. Now, everybody had a disciplinarian in their home growing up. They were their own disciplinarian. So they grow up doing what they want to do, and they don't accept any exterior authority. So they'll go along with it. Then behind your back, they'll do something the direct opposite, right? Defiant. Next, the compassionate person needs boundaries. Too compassionate, too nice, right? I remember back when they first started sending out surveys. Whenever I buy something, they give me a survey. I'm filling it out. Oh, I gotta, I'm like, man, I'm not filling out every survey. I'm not, I don't have time. I don't want to do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. Did you know that? If you don't want to do something, you don't have to do it, technically. It's not your job to help everybody. It's not your job to save everybody. Do you follow me? It's not your job unless you sign up for that to be your job. And if you do, and that's your life, don't complain. The ambitious person needs to be content. They need contentment. They need to learn to be satisfied. Some people, they can never have enough, right? Never content. So all of these things have both a positive side and negative side, and they have a way that you can temper it and refine it with other qualities. So you balance it out. The goal is not perfection. The goal is conscious integration. Final reflection, family. Instead of asking, how do I get rid of this part of myself? Instead, how can I use this part of myself for my rise? How can I express this part of myself wisely, ethically, and intentionally? Right? How can I use this? Everything is energy, and everything can be used for your rise. That transforms the shadow from an unconscious liability into one of your greatest sources of power. So I invite you all to become part of the family. If you enjoyed this and you want to learn more, you can visit us at hiddenpowerwellness.com and check out our bookstore. I have several books out. We have a bundle where you can get them all pretty much wholesale. We want you to have those books. That's your initiation pack. So if a lot of this seems like it's far out, you can get a firm foundation from the initiation study stack. It's about 5 books you get. If you're ready to go to the next level, become part of the family, we have hiddenpowercommunity.org, where you can interact with people just like you who are on the frequency, who are seeking to grow and to get regulated for what's coming shortly to this planet.